humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Catherine, co-host and bestie.
Welcome to the Pod Lab, Catherine.
Thank you.
All right, I'm a little dizzy.
Yeah,
I'm
look it.
feeling it. I had an MRI today, friends. My annual breast MRI. I get one once a year because I am a breast cancer survivor, and I have to go for this test once a year in an MRI tube, but I have to take Xanax because of my claustrophobia.
Mm-hmm.
So Catherine very generously drove me.
Well, we do these things for each other.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
I take you to the ER. You take me to the MRI.
Right. Right.
Anyway, so I've had 2 Xanax, and I'm feeling...
Well, she says 2, but it's really like one dose.
Right, because it was
2 halves.
0.5.
Right.
Right. And at first, I didn't feel anything. At first, I was like, this is not going to help. But then once I got cozy and laying down in that thing, I was like, oh, yeah, I feel pretty chill.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm talking like this and I start drooling, please don't mind me.
Right. I hope you don't.
And preferably, there's no cancer because we don't want that. So I should get results in a couple days. And anybody who's listening to me, I'll just put a little plug in for screening. Cancer screening is your best friend. Please get your screenings. Stay up to date on all of your screenings. So you need to get a breast screening, mammogram once a year. Mm-hmm. You need to get a colonoscopy once every 10 years, over 45. Yes, I said it, over 45. Not 50, 45.
Right.
Yeah. You need to get a skin check once a year. Go into the doctor, just naked yourself. Not totally. You can leave your bra and panties on. But let them look at your skin.
Yeah, you need to be proactive.
Yeah, guys over 50, PSA test. Get the prostate. Is there anything I left out? If you smoked, go get a lung screening. They're out there. Get a lung screening now.
Or if you lived with a smoker.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Talk to your doctor. You can get a lung screening, and then they can treat it before it's like nasty.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or if you worked around asbestos, get a screening.
All the things. Mm-hmm. Well, today, friends, this is episode number 224. And we're calling it Aches, Pains, and Hormones. Oh, my. Aging doesn't have to hurt. It should say, even though it does.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it does. And so we're going to be talking today about when you hurt yourself, but nothing happened. Like, it just hurts. Because you didn't do anything. It's not like you dove into home base.
You just got out of bed.
Yeah.
And you're like, ow.
That's exactly right.
Or you bent down to get that thing at the bottom of your cabinet, and you're like, it hurts to get up.
We're going to talk about all that. And just for reference, Catherine and I are both in our 50s. If you're tuning in for the first time, we're just a couple of middle-aged gals who didn't have anything to do over the pandemic. So we started this podcast. And every week we bring you a different topic that we think you'll care about. And we think if you're in this age group, you're going to care about these aches and pains and what you can do about it, if anything. Okay. Mm-hmm. So this is how the episode is going to go. Actually, before we get into that, Catherine, tell our listeners about how they can become a sponsor of this great show.
They can go to tracydegraff.com. That's Tracy with just the Y at the end, no EY. DeGraff, DeGraaf.com. Follow the prompts and give generously, if you will. And that helps us, with the cost of the platform we use and with any updates that we might need. Yeah. We want to get, Tracy wants to get to video recording.
Yes, we are video recording right now on my little iPhone.
But it's clumsy the way we do it.
It is. We don't know what to do with it once we record it because we don't have any editing skills.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. Olivia is helping us, but I don't know. We just don't know what to do with it. So there we are. Anyway, all right. So you can become a sponsor. We call you humor consumers if you're just listening, but if you listen and you sponsor, we call you humor contributors. So thanks for that. All right. Here are the takeaways for today. If you stick with us all the way to the end, we're going to go over how does it happen and why. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like how is this even a thing that I didn't do anything, but yet I hurt myself? Kat's found some things to talk about with that. Also, we're going to talk about just how to prevent common ailments, and how to lessen joint pain. And Catherine has an injury right now on
I just hit it. I actually just hit it. It hurts.
On her arm. So she's going to talk about that. I have some stories to tell too. So you're not alone. That's our third takeaway, is that you're not alone. We all have these things as we get older, and knowledge is power, Catherine.
Yeah.
It is. And then if you add a little bit of accountability and some motivation to that knowledge, you're going to have a winning recipe for success. Okay. As usual, we have a little scripture to share, which I have to pull up on my screen, by the way, and a call to action. So Catherine, why don't you start us out with what did you find in your research about how do these things happen?
There can be many causes of our daily discomforts, and we have a habit of saying, oh, it stinks getting old. But according to what I'm reading with this doctor, it's actually not your age. It's the condition you're in. And
sorry, I burped.
Excuse you. Excuse you.
Did you see my whole chest?
I did.
I was trying to keep it in so nobody would
bounce
hear
off
me.
the chair.
Sorry.
So, yeah.
We have to tell the Walmart story.
Oh my God.
Should we tell it now?
Well, you
We
halfway let the cat halfway out of the bag.
We might as well.
Okay, it is injury related.
It's fitting.
Because I have an injury.
Yes.
I'm not supposed to be doing too much with my left arm.
Or anything.
Yeah.
She's wearing a brace and she's not supposed to use that arm. You're supposed to rest it.
Yeah, I'm supposed to. Yeah. Okay. And I bought some ground soil, and
a big
potting,
bag of it. Not just some.
Potting soil.
It was 40 pounds of soil.
40 pounds.
It had to be.
No, it was not. Anyway.
It was heavy.
Right. And I was going to move it into the trunk of my car. And Tracy's like, I'll help you. And so I thought help meant we'll both lift it in there, but she's like, oh no, I'll do it. And so she takes it on herself.
Hold on.
What now?
First of all.
What now?
First of all, I insisted on getting it.
I know.
Because I told you to hold the cart so that the wind wouldn't pull it away and crash it into something.
Right.
And I wrapped my arms around this giant bag of soil.
You did.
And when first I was in a dress. Come from church. We came from church. We look cute. And I had to spread my legs just slightly to get my stance because I thought I'm going to need all my muscles for this.
Lift with your knees.
Yeah.
Not your back.
I'm trying to do it right. I spread my legs and I've got them hip width apart. And then I grab hold of this 40-pound bag of soil. And as
40 pounds. Not 40 pounds.
You go home and look and you tell me how many pounds it was.
It's not 40 pounds, but go ahead.
It was 40 pounds. So I tried to move it and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to need every muscle on duty. All 600 muscles, call to action. And so then I hoisted it up. And as I tossed it in her car, I let out the loudest fart
she
ever
exerted herself, and out it came.
And it sounded like applause. It was just like, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Oh my gosh.
There was no control.
Funny. There was none. You could tell by the way. You're like, oops.
Catherine. It wouldn't have mattered who was standing there. It was not like I could have controlled that at all.
No.
Which is terrifying to me. So, friends.
I think just the fact that you're just like, oh, I'm going to save the day. And you just... Oops.
And it was at Walmart, of all places, where they have 8,000 cameras somewhere.
That's true. But, I think it would have been worse if it were at the country club.
Okay. But point made. It doesn't matter if it would have been at the country club. I didn't have any option. No. It was nothing. It just happened.
It did. Oh, poor you. That does come. That is an age-related thing. I think.
I'm just going to say it because our friend who, you know who I'm talking about, she's about 10 years older than me. And she said about 10 years ago, she said, just wait until you get in your 60s and you get this uncontrollable gas. I'm like, what? And our friend is not like that. Like, no, she's very proper.
Poised. Yeah. She's not one to, make public body sounds.
I'm sorry if that was too much information.
It probably was. We're sorry.
Okay, but I'm telling you, girls, if you're 40 or 50 or even 30, write it down. Set the date for when you're pushing 60, and then let me know. I'll be dead, but let me know.
Don't say that.
All right. Anyway, that was the Walmart story.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
Well, as I was saying, there could be many causes for your daily discomforts, but the most common is osteoarthritis. And what that is a wear and tear disease caused by the tissue or your cartilage. She's yawning. Between your bones. They break down, causing joint pain.
Okay, anything that says itis means inflammation. Okay, so if you've got arthritis or you've got tendinitis or anything with itis means it's inflamed somewhere.
Yeah, and the causes are different. Like this one is wear and tear.
When they say wear and tear, what that translates to is old lady arm.
Yeah, and funny because it says here that it is not it's not your age that's causing. It's not the cause of this. But as we age, the wear and tear increases, right?
Okay, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's the same thing like with Alzheimer's. They say that is not it's not a necessarily age related, or it's not something with age. It's not the be all end all of when you're aging, but yet it only happens when you're older.
Okay, so which means it's not a foregone conclusion, but it could happen, and it's usually when you're old. Okay, with these joints and stuff, when they say it's wear and tear, if you haven't really moved your joints or you haven't abused your joints or whatever, then perhaps you're not going to have an issue. But if you have I don't know. Like, explain your injury, Catherine. Tell them what happened to you and what you said the occupational therapist said.
Well, I had pain in my arm, near the elbow, down between the elbow and my hand, and it hurt a lot. Usually, when I get pains like that, they usually go away. This wasn't going away, so I went to the orthopedic doctor. Had an x-ray, then I had to go get an MRI because he saw some spots too, which kind of on my bone scared me. But anyway, I have I forgot the technical terms, but tendinitis, so tennis elbow, and endocarditis something, and 2 tears in
sorry, my nose is running.
2 tears in my arm, and it's very painful.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm in occupational therapy, and when I asked the doctor, like, well, what caused that? Like the tears? He's like, oh, age. So, but really, it's not age; it's wear and tear. And when I talked to the occupational therapist, when I went, I said, well, what kind of wear and tear? I'm right-handed, and this is my left hand that's injured. And she said, well, it's the fact that whatever I'm doing it wrong. So one thing, like when you pick up grocery bags, you shouldn't stick your arm out and then like palm it or claw. You can lift that way, but you have to have your arm close to you as you move your elbow like that. Well, when I think about it, my right hand is always occupied, whether it's carrying, my shoulder bags, my coffee, whatever in my right hand. Then I use my left hand, just grab a bunch of stuff. Plus, I told her I grip the steering wheel with my left hand.
At 12 o'clock.
At 12 o'clock, that's right, and hold it tight. So things like that, I've got to change my habits.
Yeah, so don't do that, friends.
Yeah.
And that's what occupational therapy is helping you to relearn, because you have these habits. We all have habits of the way that we do things, and it's like the mechanics of moving our bodies. Mm-hmm. And if we have over time so much that we move our bodies in those ways, posture is a huge thing that I learned about.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Do you want me to talk about that right now, or is it a different time?
How about I finish this?
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll get all. Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
So another cause can be rheumatoid arthritis, and that's an inflammatory condition where the tissue that lines your joints is essentially attacked by your immune system, causing stiff, swollen joints that can cause actually fever too and fatigue.
So do they
and
call
loss of
that an
appetite.
autoimmune disorder, rheumatoid arthritis?
I don't want to say that for sure. I feel they're related, but I don't
Sounds
know.
like it.
But whatever the condition, pain is basically caused by overuse, underuse, injury, and weak muscles. So we're going to talk about
Overuse, underuse.
Uh-huh.
You got to find the
so you can't
right
be
balance.
sedentary. And I don't know, did you know this? So foods that can cause the inflammation, we know what we
Sugar,
know.
Flour.
That's right. But did you know, or do you know what nightshades are?
Yeah, it's like vegetables.
Did not know that. So tomatoes cause inflammation. I never would have thought that. I know white potatoes do. Peppers, eggplants, and goji berries. I don't even know what they are. And then, of course, your gluten, dairy, and sugar. And you're going to talk about this more, but for women, menopause can cause joint pain in your
Yes.
knees, shoulders, neck, elbows, and hands. And it can also make older joint injuries ache again when you're in menopause.
Question about joints and injuries. Because do you ever hear in the old days people saying, "Oh, my knee's acting up, it must be going to rain," or whatever, like barometric pressure
for sure.
changes?
That affects, yeah.
When I was a kid, I was 10. So my goodness, that was 50 years ago. I broke my tibia and my fibula.
Yeah.
And I broke them clean in half. They were not attached at all.
Yeah.
Had I tried to stand, they would have come out my skin.
Oh.
Anyway, I did have that for a number of years. I don't have it anymore,
Yeah.
but I would have these aches and pains when the barometric pressure would change. Weird.
Yeah. I think it does something with the inflammation or something. I don't
I
know.
don't know, but thank God
Makes
the
it
body
joints.
heals when you
I
break it.
know.
Mostly.
Yeah. But women, they tend to feel more discomfort in their joints as they get older because there's less estrogen.
Yeah.
And the estrogen helps reduce the inflammation. So when you have less of it, you're going to have that. But again, as I said, one factor that doesn't cause joint pain is age. It's not a symptom of aging. It's a symptom of your activity level.
Okay. Or lack thereof, my friends.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's wear and tear.
Yeah.
So if you're not too sedentary, you're just not,
I love when those young doctors come in, because now all of our doctors are younger than us. Because
I know. They're like baby Huey.
the older ones have all died or retired. And so in comes the young doctor. And I mean, you could have babysat him,
I know.
could have been your kid.
Oh my gosh. There's times I'm like, have you graduated?
Do you even shave? But now they come in and I love it when they say things, well, for a woman of your age, this is normal.
I know.
Like, oh, gosh. Can you even do math? Figure out my age. By the way, rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease.
Okay. I thought so, but I didn't want to say for sure.
Yeah, and it says here, this is so sad to me. It says that that's a disease where the body's immune system mistakenly attacks the joints, causing inflammation, pain, stiffness, and potential damage, which is so sad. It's like your body is
betrays
hurting
you.
itself.
Yeah.
I felt like my body betrayed me when I was loading up your soil, Catherine.
Your body did betray you.
It's like, what are you doing?
Oh, I know. I know of a few people that have the rheumatoid arthritis they have it pretty bad and they're just miserable.
Yeah.
Because that can't be scraped off. It can't be removed like many things can. And you have to live with it.
I know. It's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on that you wanted to share?
Not on, what are the causes of our aches and pains.
I do want to share a couple things that I learned about hormones.
Yeah, that's
these numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
There was a doctor who was questioned, and I do a lot of my research on YouTube, so don't just take it with a grain of salt. If you actually want real medical advice, go to your doctor. But this doctor was questioned about, well, do men and women age equally? Mm-hmm. Like at the same rate? And he said, honestly, For women, menopause can hit you between 35 and 55.
Yeah.
35.
Yeah, it's young.
Yikes.
Yeah. Well, this doctor says that 50 is young.
Wow. I was 47 when I was done with menopause.
Yeah, that to me, that sounds early.
Well, how old were you when you were done?
54.
Yeah, I think it was early, but like my sister, she's 1 year older than me, and she was still getting her periods like way into her 50s.
Same.
And,
me too.
Yeah, and she was like, how come you're done and I'm not? I said, I have more miles on my uterus. Okay, I've had 5 children. My lady parts are like, we're checking out.
It could be.
Anyway, so menopause between 35 and 55. And then for men, their peak testosterone age is age 30. So basically what this doctor was saying is that from age 30 for men and age 35 for women, that's when your body is like just going downhill.
Yeah, so men
Age-wise.
start to lose testosterone around 30, and my poor husband, he has to have testosterone injections.
Are you giving those to him now? Because you wouldn't learn how to do it.
I haven't had to. I did go and learn how to do it at the doctor's office, but he is able to stick himself in the thigh, so...
You don't have to do it?
Well, he's only done it, I think he has to do it once a week. And he's done it.
Oh, that's good.
I know.
Well, it says here that progesterone is the first hormone to decline, and women get hot flashes. Men just don't feel as strong as what they once were, and it affects your sleep. So you can wake up very early. Mm-hmm. I woke up this morning at 4 something, and that's not usually like me.
Right.
You know?
I know. Yeah.
And I woke up and I looked at my clock and I was like, oh no. Nobody, we are not doing this. I went to the bathroom and I said to myself, Self, you are getting right back in that bed and going right back to sleep.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. Muscles, tendons, and bones, testosterone is a major hormone that affects those. And estrogen, I learned this, that estrogen has 400 receptors.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Our bodies.
Meaning it does 400 different things. I don't know how it all works.
Yeah. Estrogen, it's a major hormone.
You should not mess with your hormones, people.
No.
Do not mess with them.
Right. Go
to an expert person to get hormone stuff. Because when I had breast cancer, they give you this adjuvant therapy post-treatment to hopefully keep the cancer away, because my cancer was estrogen sensitive, which meant that my estrogen was going rogue in my body and it created a cancer in my breast. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we don't want that to come back, right? Mm-hmm. So they give me this medicine that blocked the estrogen. Yeah. I only took the medicine for 3 weeks. It was called an aromatase inhibitor. It was called Arimidex. Mm-hmm. Okay. I took it for 3 weeks. And I couldn't stand it. The pain your girl does not do pain.
Right.
I have a 0 pain tolerance. Like if it's 1, I'm like, just make it stop. I had pain from head to toe. I was in tears at night. I couldn't sleep. I was like, I'd rather be with Jesus than have this. So I told my doctor, I cannot take this medicine. My hair was falling out. I still have like this little baby new growth here.
And it hasn't
That's
grown.
from 9 years ago.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Anyway, I went off the medicine and I went on tamoxifen, which has been around for 60 years or so. And I didn't have any of those kinds of side effects. I had other side effects, but not those.
Yeah.
So when you block all of the estrogen, because that's what that drug did, it blocked all of the estrogen in my body. My body was rebelling because your bones need estrogen. And they even give you a shot of Prolia, which is like for osteoporosis to try to prevent bone weakening. Mm-hmm. They give you that as a cancer patient before you go on these aromatase inhibitors.
Yeah.
Like that one shot, it's like a $4,000 shot. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see where that drug, that Arimidex drug, I don't see where that necessarily is worth putting out there if you can take this other tamoxifen drug, get a similar result.
Yeah.
Without all that pain.
You know what?
What?
My neck is killing me just turning this way.
Looking
at you. Yeah. We're side by side if you can't see us.
Yeah.
And which you can't unless the video goes out. But anyway, and the whole time I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, my neck hurts. It really hurts. Anyway, back to estrogen.
Yes.
The thing too with that is sometimes can feed a certain cancer. I don't know if it's one of the breast cancers, but because I know this was a controversy back when my mom had
hormone
uterine
replacement therapy.
Yeah, and because her doctor said absolutely do not take it, but it can cause one cancer, but help prevent another cancer.
Yeah,
and it's either uterine and breast. It's something like that, but
right,
it's amazing. I mean, unusual, or I don't know, it's science.
Well, we just have to watch our hormones, and we can't just assume that the hormones aren't needed, because they are.
Right.
Okay, another thing that happens as we age, which this might sound like a good thing, but our appetite will decrease as we age because our metabolism slows down. Our whole digestive system can slow down as we age. So what's important as we age, friends, hear this. We must drink more water.
Yeah,
we have to stay hydrated for hydration's sake, but also for motility for our digestive system to move things through, because all of that can slow down, and you don't want to suffer with constipation or, God forbid, hemorrhoids, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You need to keep, I mean, there's so many benefits to having water, and one of them, it helps all the nutrients get to your main parts and your organs and everything. You gotta stay hydrated.
And coffee does not necessarily hydrate you. It actually dehydrates you in certain ways. Also, your mitochondria slows down. I don't really know what the effect of that is, but it's a cellular situation. So our cells change as we get older, and we must. Another thing to do to help with motility is keep walking. Go for a good walk every single day. So that you're moving things through your body.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing that was mentioned is to try to take as few supplements and as few prescription medications as possible. And actually get your numbers tested. So rather than just going on a supplement because somebody on the internet says, take this supplement, which they're selling and profiting from or whatever, get your hormone levels tested. Get your vitamin levels tested and find out, do I need to be taking this? And go accordingly. Diet changes and exercise play a critical role. Now, this was one doctor's recommendation. He said that you should eat mostly protein. So if you're looking at your plate, half of it should be a healthy protein, like eggs, fish, lean meats, poultry. Half of your plate should be, lean protein, good protein.
Right.
30% of your plate should be green leafy vegetables, and then the other portion of your plate should just be regular vegetables. No bread. He said that bread is toxic. So, I know you love your bread, so you're like, I'm not doing no bread.
Well, just very low moderation. I mean, yeah.
Toxic bread in low moderation.
No, it's no, you can have a little bit of bread.
Well, you make your decision on what you want, what you want to do. Senior patients' advice. Don't take as a given that you'll need to be unhealthy as you age. Let's make a pact right now.
What?
We're in our 50s. I'm 59. You are 56. Just had a birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
By the way. Let's make a pact that as we go into our 60s and 70s and, Lord willing, 80s, I don't know if I even want to ask for the 90s, but let's just make a pact that we don't have to go into those decades unhealthy. We can control the things we can control.
Yeah. Keep moving.
Age gracefully.
Hopefully.
Let's see. This other note that I have here, how to get rid of aches and pains when you haven't done anything and you're just sore. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. This guy was talking about how he's a trainer, okay? And he was saying, okay, just face it. You're going to be sore no matter what.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to be sore with joint pain, or do you want to be sore with, I just worked out pain?
Just worked out pain.
Right, because it's not as painful.
No.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
So everybody listening to our voices, you should be coming up with some kind of a plan to work out. All right, what else you got?
I'm gonna add to the joint pain. Not warming up before you exercise can put your joints at a higher risk of strain and overload. So you want to warm up before you work out and cool down for 5 minutes by slowly working the same muscles you'll be using during your exercise. So that, I guess that's beforehand too.
You know, we used to do that a lot more back in the 80s and stuff. When Jane Fonda was doing her videos and stuff, she would always have a warm up and a cool down.
Yeah, you should have that. Yeah, you also want to lose weight. Extra weight puts unneeded stress on your joints, and especially the knees and hips. And losing just 10 pounds can take up to, get this, 40 pounds of pressure off your knees.
Wow.
I know. Quit smoking, if you're smoking. It does so much damage to your body. I mean, your cartilage. And long-term smokers, they're going to feel aches and pains more intensely than someone who doesn't smoke. So, I mean, you know, besides the fact that your lungs are at risk and, you know, anybody around you, but also you are going to feel the pain more intensely.
I was thinking about this from like the 70s and 80s. Yeah. Smoking was everywhere.
Yeah.
People could smoke on planes. Mm-hmm. They could smoke in restaurants. Mm-hmm. There was no like public ban on smoking.
No, I think even in the early 90s, you could still smoke in a restaurant.
For sure you could, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
You could smoke in the hospital.
In the early 90s?
I don't know if it was the 90s, but you used to be able to smoke in a hospital.
Oh, I know. I remember feeling.
Can you imagine that now?
I can't. And I can remember being on, you know, flights to England.
Yeah.
And smokers being on there. And it's just, I remember feeling sick.
Yeah.
Because when you're stuck next to, I don't even know if they had smoking section. I don't remember. But they would have the no smoking thing off and on when it was time. Oh, you could smoke. The whole plane was like a cloud.
And then, like my parents smoked, both mom and dad. Mm-hmm. Both sets of my grandparents smoked, with the exception of my one grandma. She didn't, or not that I know of, but two on one side and one on the other side smoked. So if we'd go somewhere in the car, all the windows are up. Yeah. They're just smoking away.
Yeah.
And they might crack the window like that much. And I would be like dying.
Yeah.
I'm going to die.
Gosh.
I can't believe we survived.
Yeah. A lot of pregnant women smoked in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And drank.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else?
Make sure you get a lot of sleep as well, because a lack of sleep can make your pain worse. And it says here to make quality sleep a priority by going to bed and waking up the same time and turning off your smartphone an hour before bed, but wake up, go to sleep same time. I don't know. For some reason, I guess that helps with the pain level. So
I think it helps your body get into a rhythm too.
That too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's it, I think.
All right. One thing that I forgot to mention when we were talking about like our own experiences, because we did want to let our listeners know you're not alone. You know, if you are going through some kind of a painful recovery thing, we all have our aches and pains. Mm-hmm. Do what the doctor tells you to do. Go to physical therapy. Do the exercises. I had one time a tear in my hip. Oh, and if it didn't get fixed with therapy, I was going to have surgery on it. Well, I went to therapy, and the therapist was a personal friend of mine from a church that I used to go to. And I just listened to him, to every single thing that he said. I listened to him. Sorry. I was getting a call from St. John, Indiana, so I'm sure it's the Shrine of Christ people. I'll call them back. Yeah. I'm planning a tour of the Shrine of Christ's Passion in St. John, Indiana.
Yeah, it's
We're going to go on June 11th with our church group, and I think it's going to be a wonderful afternoon. So if you're in the Piatone area and you want to go, just, reach out. Anyway, here's what my friend and physical therapist said to me. He said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to strengthen your muscles around that joint. That way the muscles are going to you're going to offload the pain to the muscles.
Right.
And you're going to give your joint freedom just to heal and to be a joint. We need to do strength training.
We do.
Build muscle.
When I was in physical therapy for lower back pain years ago, it was shortly after I had Ellis, the physical therapist had said everything, your core. So I did a lot of core strength because your center, your core, if it's strong, you're going to have less pain in your back, even your shoulders. And so I would have to strengthen my core by sitting on those, those big balls.
Yeah.
Big yoga ball.
Yeah.
And then he would try to push me, and I would have to have the strength to resist, those kinds of things. It's really, really good to keep your core strengthened for that reason.
Speaking of the back, we're going to have to do another podcast on just back pain, I think, because I've struggled with back pain for 30 years, more than that now, with having babies. But I found, in researching for today's podcast, I found a gentleman, he's passed away now, but his name is Robin McKenzie. He's a physical therapist, or was a physical therapist in New Zealand. And he developed this thing called the McKenzie method, and it's basically ways that you can heal your own back. It's not everybody is a candidate for this, because it probably depends on what kind of disease you have or what your root causes are for back pain.
Yeah.
But a lot of people can avoid surgery and pain if they just do these things. And it's basically what you just said, strengthening and also stretching and posture. Holding good posture. So I just ordered his book called How to Heal Your Own Back. And it's coming today. Because I ordered it 2 hours ago, and Amazon's already on the way.
Yay.
Yeah, so I'll follow up with that.
Yeah. I don't know if that is like the be all end all for like if you have, like Ellis has a bulging disc or herniated disc. I always get it mixed up. Those are, problems. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, you can have physical therapy, and you can get the
shots,
injections.
Yeah,
but it's not going to go away.
Right. I think there's a lot of chronic back issues that don't go away. You just have to work around them, and you have to manage them. And sometimes you can't avoid surgery. Yeah. But hopefully you can. All right. Anything else that you wanted to say about today's topic?
I forgot to say this too.
Yeah.
Regarding regular exercise and it being the best treatment to preserve your joint health, one thing I forgot to say is that it strengthens the muscles around the joints and improves the flow of nutrients to the cartilage, which takes the pressure off of them. So I didn't really realize that in terms of the nutrients going to the cartilage when you are strengthening your muscles. So good thing to be mindful of.
Yeah, if you just don't remember anything that we've said so far, and you just remember this, eat, sleep, and move for your whole life. Eat well, sleep well, move well, and you'll avoid a whole lot of problems. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Let's move to our scripture, which is Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 to 12. I'm going to read this from the Message. It says, "Trust God from the bottom of your heart. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Listen for God's voice in everything you do, everywhere you go. He's the one who will keep you on track. Don't assume that you know it all. Run to God. Run from evil. Your body will glow with health. Your very bones will vibrate with life. Honor God with everything you own. Give him the first and the best. Your barns will burst. Your wine vats will brim over. But, excuse me, but don't, dear friend, resent God's discipline. Don't sulk under his loving correction. It's the child he loves that God corrects. A father's delight is behind all of this." So that's pretty encouraging for us.
It's very encouraging. I don't think it's the scripture we picked out, but it's very...
No, that was the one that you gave me.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's just a different version.
No, yeah, I know. It's the Message. What made you pull that one up? The Message?
I pulled up a bunch of them, like this U version. It gives you the same scripture in all these different versions. Like the one that you gave me, maybe here's the NIV one.
Proverbs 3.
Yeah, that's the same one.
Oh.
It's the same.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it says, "Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones." So the Message is just adding more language to it.
Right.
And bringing it a little bit more conversational.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, we need to trust God
Right.
with everything, especially with our bodies, because if you don't have your health, you're limiting all your options, friends.
Yeah. Just take care of what God gave you.
Yes, I'm speaking to myself there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens Laugh Anyway podcast, and I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Catherine.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.